one of my most memorable studio sessions with Usher had to be the first session. First time we got in together because, first of all, Usher is somebody who I look up to, who I've studied, since I was, a young kid, listening to R&B music, listening to 8701, listening to Confessions, and, all those albums kind of shaped me into the R&B fan and singer and performer, entertainer that I am today. So, I look up to Usher, like, tremendously. So when it came down to getting in the studio with him, he actually heard a song that I did in Miami. I was working out of the Circle House. It was a crazy writing camp over there. Came up with Let Me See. He heard it and was like, get that kid, get him out here. Let's, fly him to Atlanta and let's get a session going. So we played it. When I got in there, he was like, all right, I see what you did with this song, but can you do it again? He was like, can you do it again? Can you, was it a fluke? I'm like, come on, man. He's disrespecting me right now. He was smiling, but at the same time, if I wrote a weak song, it would be like, get this kid out of here. You know what I'm saying? But luckily, I was ready that day. It was interesting because we were actually working on the Looking For Myself album. And, when you're working at that level, the tracks that you get to write from, it's just not fair. You know what I mean? He went through a folder of beats. He was like, okay, I got the Pharrell folder, I got the Timbaland folder, and you know what I'm saying? I'm like a kid in a candy store, so I'm like, oh, I'm looking through these folders. I think it was a few of them that I liked. But then 40 walks in, right? I'm like, wow, you're 40. You know what I'm saying? So he's like, man, they called me in as well. He's like, Drake is the only person that's ever written to any of my beats. He was like, so you're going to be the first person, you know what I mean, to actually just write to my beats, because me and Drake normally go back and forth, but they called me in for the Usher project, and I just happened to be there ready. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, okay, I got something to prove. He already asked me if it was a fluke, if I could do it again. Then you got 40 who just gave me that spiel, and Drake is another person who, I listen to and I'm a big fan of. So I was like, I got to come with it. So I wrote a song called What Happened to You, which ended up on the album, and that, I think, solidified the relationship. Let Me See is the one that got me in the door, and then What Happened to You solidified it. Then I went through the folders, and Danger had a track in there, wrote a song called I Care For You. That made the album. So, I just think, when it comes down to these sessions, I just deliver every time. I look at it like, if you miss one time, that's it. You can't miss. You got to hit every single time. Otherwise, people kind of look at you like, oh, you fell off with one song, So I try to make sure I go crazy every single time. If you listen to What Happened to You, I took a different approach. I didn't just write a song. Like, let me just, all right, cool. They want to see if I could write a good song again. Boom, I'm write a song. I actually did a gang of research on things that I didn't know yet about Usher. I knew a few things, but I wanted to list, like, low-key a biography, in the song, so that he was already attached to it when he heard it. So when he's listening back to this song, it's like, okay, cool. This kid just wrote Let Me See. What else he gonna do? Boom, you got the 40 beat. The beat was crazy. I'm talking about stuff in the song like 7 Grammys, sold out concerts, everything that Usher's been through, So when he heard the song, he was like, all right, load it up. I'm gonna cut it, and it was history from there.
I guess her so-called boyfriend steps up and says, so you want to take a picture with these little dick ass niggas? How disrespectful is that? I'm like, wait. Fuck the picture.
When the first girl grabbed my private, when I first walked in, I was like, yeah, this is kind of crazy. I'm looking at her like, yo, she's an older woman. What you doing?
Crew of dudes came in while I'm DJing, and it was like, man, fuck YG, loud as fuck. And the homies just chased them niggas all the way out the club. And I don't know what happened after that. I know it wasn't cool, because everybody that I was with was in one piece when we came back, so.
I'm looking at her, but I'm attacked already, so
She
I'm
looking
looking
back.
at her.
She looking back.
She
like,
looking back like,
y'all ready?
Like, we about to drive off with these
Yeah.
motherfuckers. You know what I'm saying? She looking back like this. I'm like, yo,